We're going to go play an FIU team that is coming off of a big road win for them. They're coming back home. We need to go get a road win ourselves, and so I felt that they were very focused today, and didn't feel like there was any hangover from the win on Saturday, and we're right back at it and excited to get going. So there we are.
Questions?
Coach, saw Keelan Travis kind of working out in a red jersey. How far away is he?
I'm not sure yet, but it was sure good to see him out there. And he only participated in individual work, and he'll be non-contact. But I don't know that it's not going to be sooner than I thought. I was really encouraged. It was great to see him out there. But we have to make sure that that bone is 100% healed and callous. And we're not going to put him out there until he is absolutely ready to go.
Along that theme is Durante. Have you heard anything about Durante?
Durante is in our concussion protocol, and as soon as they work through that through the week, we'll have a decision made by the doctors, the medical team, on whether or not he's available. I can tell you this: that we will absolutely err on the side of caution and make sure that we protect the player. I think sometimes Durante is a guy that you have to make sure you protect from himself. I mean, he's a warrior. He just wants to go and play, and but you just don't treat these things lightly.
Is that something you're taking extra precaution, especially with what happened with Tua in the NFL this week?
Well, it has nothing to do with Tua for me. That's just always been my philosophy, at least since I coached in college. There was a little transformation when I came to college, quite frankly. You just have to make sure that you look out for the well-being of these young men. Certainly the Tua thing brought a lot of awareness to it nationally. It was ugly. It was bad. People lost jobs over it. But for me personally, it's always been, I think I said on Sunday on the call, head, neck, and spine injuries, you just, you're extra precautionary about those things. There's not a win that's ever worth putting someone that shouldn't be in harm's way in harm's way.
Jim, you talked in the preseason about how you're always very curious to see how a team will deal not only with some disappointments but some successes, because either can be, I forget exactly how you termed it, but kind of disruptive forces potentially.
Yeah.
Halfway through this season now, having experienced some rewarding days and some frustrating days, how do you feel like you guys have handled everything?
They've handled it the way that I think is important you handle it, and that's the same. If you handle success and failure the same and you're undeterred by it and you just keep working, I think you have a chance to ultimately have success. And so, I think I said might have been after the Utah State game when I didn't feel like we handled success very well when we went up 14-0. I think that might have been when we talked about it. And then certainly we've had some struggles. And now we had a win that appeared to be a pretty emotional win. From what the indications were today, we're in a good spot. But the key is, where are we on Saturday when it's time to play? And so the focus has just got to be on the mindset, the work ethic, the focus, the concentration, the commitment, all those things we just constantly stress whether we win or we lose. And it's just all about, playing up to your potential in every single snap. And if you do that, that's the process everyone talks about, then you have a chance to be successful. But we can't be a team that does this. And we're really working hard not to be that team.
Jordan, you've talked a lot about you don't think that the effort should rise during a season because you expect effort constantly there. But can the confidence rise and make the play a little bit better?
Absolutely. I mean, I think effort should be, you should sustain effort regardless of circumstance. Confidence, I think there's an ebb and flow to it. I think you gain confidence not only by winning, but by the way you prepare for a game. And I talked about this the other day, when you have more certainty about what you're doing, and so you've gotten more repetitions doing the same thing over and over again, and then it's proven to be successful, then you play faster, right? And because you have confidence to just cut it loose and go, when you play faster, you make more plays. So it's all bundled together. But I absolutely think that confidence can grow, and I see it growing. I saw it growing even in some of our losses. I really did, because as we looked at the film and evaluated play by play, regardless of score, we saw good things happening, just not enough. Now we're going to see more and more good things happening. Sorry about that.
Coach, preparing for that, I thought you kind of tell us what their biggest, what your biggest challenge might be this week with FIU.
Well, they've got a really, really good wide receiver. I mean, he's one of the top pass catchers in college football. I think that they do a really good job offensively with their check with me schemes and getting themselves in the right play versus what they think you're going to play on defense. I think their coaches do a great job with that. Their quarterback has mobility. He threw 3 touchdown passes last week. So all of a sudden, you got a guy that shown he can do it with his arm, but he's also a threat to run the ball, and he's a physical guy. He's about 6'2", 225, so he doesn't go down easy. Defensively, they play a lot of 3-man front on first and second down, get into 4 down on third down. I think they play fast. I think they play physical. I think they do a good job of mixing their zones and do a good job playing zone and man. So, those are some of the things. And then for us, we have to be able to number one, get a good punt off and then go down and cover it. And they've got good returners. They got some speed there. So that's a big point of emphasis for us is our coverage stuff.
Your defense has made tremendous strides over in recent weeks. On game day on sidelines, Steve Dalton's the one next to you, really calling out the defense and things of that nature. Has he risen to the forefront in terms of who you lean on?
Who's that now?
Dalton.
No, I mean, I know this sounds like coach speak, but it is very collaborative. I think that the reason Dalton looks like he's standing by me a lot is that, I'm an ex-DB coach, so I usually probably get on him harder than I get on the other guys, or where I position myself on the field. But, we are all talking constantly through the game. And those guys give me suggestions like between every play. It's not uncommon for me. Matter of fact, it's very common to say, what do you guys like here, during a series. I've found it to be an amazing working relationship with those 3 guys and the guys, our analysts and our GAs as well. Dalton's the guy I know the best. So maybe, I have a tendency to lean towards him. But, those guys are all fantastic. It's been fun.
Talked about, Zion's improvement, how much more comfortable he looked. How do you think those 3 games against Syracuse, Michigan, and NC State kind of expedited his growth? And how rare an opportunity is that for a freshman?
Well, they certainly could have broke him if he was, not as mentally tough as he is. I mean, because those were tough. You have some tough sledding right there. And even the start of this game, wasn't great. But for some reason, and I don't know what it is, maybe it's because he'd been through those 3 tough games. As the game went on, even though we weren't having great success offensively, I just felt like our offensive unit's confidence was growing, and his certainly. And, we talk about like certainty, right, and playing with certainty, and that enables you to play faster and make plays, and he seems more certain now in what he's supposed to do. So you'll see him pull it quicker and run, right, or get the ball out of his hand quicker on passes. He's got a long way to go, as all of us do. And we got a long, let's not, fool ourselves. We got a long ways to go. But, I just know that he's a mentally tough, very competitive kid, and it's going to be hard to get him down. Now, he takes things hard. I mean, after losses, he's not, he's emotional. But he bounces back. He bounces back, and that's what we saw in him when we recruited him.
Last week you talked about how it would be unrealistic to give Victor the ball 25 times a game, and if you reached 10 or 11 carries with Devontae, that might be stressing him out a little bit. So
why do you get 20?
Yeah. You can't give him 20 every game.
No. That's a great question. You have a tendency as a staff to feed the guy that's hot at running back. I think we have to be really cognizant of the fact that Devontae, he's been taking a beating, and he has a shoulder that's not yet completely healed. We have to be able to work in Victor more and more each week, as his confidence grows. And he's doing a lot, the fact that he's returning kicks and returning punts, you can't take that lightly. Those are stressful situations. And guy goes out and he drops the first kickoff return, as a coach, you're like, oh man, it rattles you just a little bit. you know, or let some of those punts drop. You go, oh shoot, is he lacking in confidence right now? Do we need to protect him and protect our team by, you know, limiting his reps? But kind of like, you know, a lot of guys on our team, there is a mental toughness, and we just gotta, I think we, not Victor, but we as a staff have to get over that and let him carry the ball more. And then Robert Burns, you know, you guys have seen him run the ball more the last couple weeks than he had early in the season, and he's a factor there. If we can protect Cam Edwards from having to play at this point in time, that's a good thing for us, but he's there if we need him.
Coach, it was Jackson Mitchell that made the play that kind of ended the game on Saturday. How has the last few weeks been for him? I know he's kind of been beaten up and challenged the last 3 weeks.
Well, he's playing with, first of all, he's playing with the thumb injury, the navicular, that I don't think there, and he had surgery, you know, he's got a screw in there. I don't know that there's many players that would play with that in college football, maybe in the NFL where you're getting paid to play, but at this level, I don't think anyone could have faulted Jackson if he'd have said, hey, I'm going to let this thing heal. But he didn't. He decided to play. So he's been practicing and playing, you know, with that splint on. Then he had the little thigh, you know, contusion, nothing major. But he takes every snap. He never comes out. He's on punt. He's involved in special teams, and he's just got that warrior spirit. You know, he's just not going to be denied. I'll tell you this: it was for the first time I've ever heard him say this, but it was after the North Carolina State game, and he didn't play as well as he's capable of playing. And he told me, he said, I didn't have the energy. You know, and so we last week tried to draw it back a little bit for him during the week so that he could play with the energy that, you know, he loves to play with on Saturday. And I think we have to be very mindful of that as we go forward because, once again, you know, kind of like I was talking about Durante, you know, you have to make sure that as a coach you're aware of your players and their personalities and their tendencies and sometimes protect them from themselves or take care of them when they need to be taken care of. And Jackson's that kind of guy. I think it was April or May. Yeah, he has a screw. There's a screw in there, and you know, navicular is the smallest bone in your body, I guess, and doesn't get much blood supply, so it heals slowly. So they had to go in and put a screw in there, and they weren't able to take it out because it hadn't healed well enough by the time the season started. So he said, "Okay, you put a brace on it, and I'm going to go." You got to really respect that.
Do you see the wide receiver group growing in confidence with each passing game? Because, you know, several guys made big plays for you.
I hope so. You know, I hope so. I felt like today an individual, you know, before we started the teamwork, when they were just doing their drills, felt a little bit different energy there. You know, like okay, you know, we can do this. You know, and you need that. They need to believe in themselves. They need to feel that. And you know, hard work and then making some plays, that allows you to feel that. Now, like I've said to the team and said to you guys, it's all about backing it up. You know, if you don't go out there and you don't play to a higher level than you did last Saturday, then it just, man, you know, we can't be one-hit wonders. You know, I don't like the one-hit wonders. We got to build something here.
What did you learn about your team on Saturday? Second time they were in a fourth quarter one-score game. They came out on top this time as opposed to week one. Did it change your outlook of what you think this team's capable of the rest of the season?
You know, when I say no, I don't mean that as a negative. I kind of felt the same way all year about them, you know, just because of the resiliency that they've shown, not just this year, but through their last 3 years, and then the attitude that they bring to every meeting and the intensity they bring to really every practice. I think in spring we might have had one practice I didn't really like, and in fall maybe one, and I think one this season. You know, I don't know that I've been able to say that in the past about teams I've been with. And so there's a practice, there's an intensity that they bring every day that as a coach you go, you know, I see it. Maybe not everyone sees it, but I see it. But coming back and winning a game like that, I mean, it does it confirms everything for you, right? And it confirms it more importantly for the players. That if we just keep doing what we're doing, do it better, you know, do it more consistently, have this kind of mindset, practice the way we're practicing, preparing the way we're preparing, we get this done, you know? And so it goes from hope to belief, and that's what we're trying to get to.
Jim, you've given your team a lot of credit for how they handle things week in and week out, but what sense have you had of how the rest of the state or even people on the outside of the program saw last Saturday's win?
You know what? I don't know. I've had to have my head down. I don't have much time to do anything other than, work with the defense and work with the team. And I don't say that as a woe is me, but it's just I haven't had time to pay attention. I'd be lying if I don't recognize in the stadium on Saturday the fans that are there and their energy as the game got going, because I could feel it, I could hear it. And, man, we appreciate them being there. I don't know what the crowd is. I don't really pay attention, but I could hear, you hear it, you feel it. And I said it, we want to make football important to this state. That's on our agenda. And so if we can go out and we can play games like we played Saturday in front of our fans, in front of the UConn football fans, then hopefully, more and more people come out. But it's always great to feel the energy. It's always great to, I don't know if the right word is reward, but I'll use the word reward. Reward those people that came out to support you with a good performance that ends up in a win.